It's shocking how millions of people around the world have been quietly waiting for a moment that most mainstream outlets refuse to talk about. Yet today we are standing right in front of a development that has suddenly pushed the global currency community into a wave of speculation, questions, excitement, and confusion, all because a new 3-day Vietnam Dong intake window has opened, accepting both old and new notes together, a move that instantly triggered wild reactions, online, heated debates among investors, and countless predictions about possible shifts in regional currency strategies. As you listen carefully to every detail I'm about to share, think about how rare such synchronized policy steps are, especially when they appear without heavy public announcements or extended explanations, which naturally leaves room for curiosity and raises the question of why such tightening windows are timed in this manner. Many viewers have been asking whether this intake window represents a simple administrative step or if it hints at a deeper restructuring happening quietly behind the scenes in Southeast Asia's currency environment, especially at a time when global forex markets are adjusting to policy changes, shifting interest rates, and new government-level reviews on financial resilience. Now remember, currency windows like this do not predict an overnight revaluation or sudden spike in value, but they do indicate internal attempts to streamline circulation and track what denominations are still active within public use. That alone makes the global financial community observe Vietnam's behavior with great attention, because whenever a country organizes a short-duration intake period, analysts often see it as an indicator of data collection, currency cleansing, or banking record alignment. In the world of currency watchers, any event that involves both old and new notes is considered significant because it shows that the government still recognizes all printed versions as valid, which removes panic from the market while allowing them to analyze what percentage of notes are in public hands versus dormant in storage. The rising discussions, especially among people who follow dinar and dong developments together, often include the hope that synchronized movements across different countries could signal broader regional planning. But again, it's important to remember that real currency value changes happen only through long-term economic policies, trade performance, government reforms, and central bank decisions. Still, you cannot deny the energy that spreads through the community every time a short-duration intake window is announced, because it reminds people that currencies are not static. They are living tools influenced by population behavior, banking systems, and global trade pressures. While some viewers may be hearing about this type of intake window for the first time, it's essential to understand that such windows are usually routine, but the timing, the duration, and the suddenness can make them feel different or even suspiciously aligned with online predictions. That's why today's discussion matters. Not to promise unrealistic outcomes, not to exaggerate possibilities, but to look at how these windows fit into the larger picture of currency monitoring, economic stabilization, and regional financial alignment. So stay with me, stay focused, and get ready, because what we explore next will connect global patterns in a way that gives you clarity instead of confusion, logic instead of hype, and perspective instead of rumors. And if you're watching this right now, make sure you don't blink, because the developments that follow the intake window are often more important than the window itself. When people hear updates like this, especially when paired with trending searches about the Iraqi Dinar, the USD index, and shifting exchange corridors across the Middle East and Asia, the conversation can easily jump toward revaluation predictions. But one thing you must understand as an informed viewer is that currencies do not move in isolation. They reflect the political stability, economic reforms, and trade strategies of their nations. The same goes for the dong, the dinar, or any world currency that becomes the center of global speculation, and history has consistently shown that genuine, stable increases in currency value require economic fundamentals, not social media excitement. Yet, it is interesting how the 3-day intake window quietly overlaps with a season of increased economic restructuring discussions happening in various countries, prompting analysts to monitor whether these actions are simply logistical or part of synchronized monetary adjustments done behind closed doors. In Iraq's case, the dinar continues to remain closely monitored by banking experts who carefully analyze every statement from the Central Bank of Iraq, every policy adjustment, and every international finance update that affects rates, inflation, and liquidity. People forget that Iraq is still progressing through long-term reforms that aim to strengthen its financial frameworks, integrate with global standards, and stabilize the currency market, which is why any rumor of overnight rate changes must always be approached cautiously. For the dong, analysts say intake windows help track excess notes, fraudulent circulation, or unmonitored stockpiles that interfere with electronic banking transitions, and these steps often support modernization goals rather than something dramatic or unexpected. Still, these developments do fuel curiosity because they create opportunities for speculation, and speculation naturally draws viewers who want to know whether these changes align with larger trends that multiple nations may be experiencing simultaneously. The global economy is shifting, central banks are tightening digital oversight, and many countries are moving toward cleaner, more trackable financial systems, which explains why intake cycles, banking audits, and updated policies appear in clusters around the world. If you think about it, even if these intake windows are routine, their timing always influences investor confidence, especially for people who track cross-market behavior involving Asian currencies and Middle Eastern financial reforms. The key is not to jump to conclusions, but to analyze patterns, observe timing, follow credible sources, and understand how central bank decisions reflect the direction a country is heading financially. With this mindset, the 3-day Vietnam dong window becomes less of a mystery and more of a structural step, although still an interesting one that deserves attention, because it shows the government wants clean data on circulation volume, something often done before policy reviews or national assessments. So, as you listen right now, keep your curiosity alive, but stay grounded, because every currency story has layers, timelines, and logical explanations that must be understood before drawing conclusions. And that's exactly what separates informed viewers from those who fall for unrealistic predictions. Now, as we move deeper into the heart of this situation, the larger conversation becomes clearer. We are witnessing a world where currencies are being analyzed more aggressively than ever, where governments are strengthening oversight, and where public reactions demonstrate how deeply people hope for financial breakthroughs. The Vietnam dong intake window, while simple on the surface, shows how governments occasionally step in to monitor circulation and apply banking discipline, and this aligns with a growing global trend in which financial institutions seek greater stability through periodic note-tracking cycles. Meanwhile, the Iraqi dinar continues to attract enormous attention because people associate its future with long-term reforms, oil-driven revenue strategies, anti-corruption improvements, and international partnerships that could strengthen economic performance. Nothing dramatic happens overnight, but steady progress can lead to meaningful outcomes when governance, monetary policy, and economic strategies align. Many people watch the dinar because they hope for what they call an RV, yet real RVs in global history have almost always followed structural economic shifts that were supported by strong reserves, improved GDP, political stability, and sustainable growth. This is why understanding the difference between speculation and reality is essential. Speculation creates excitement, while reality creates results, and the two must never be confused. With the dong intake window happening now, the world is reminded that currencies evolve through processes, reviews, and accountability steps. Some analysts believe that intake windows sometimes appear before broader policy reviews, while others say they are simply routine maintenance for currency circulation management. Either way, what really matters is that viewers understand the mechanics behind these developments so they can stay informed without falling for misinformation. This is why you are here, watching this, wanting clarity, wanting truth, wanting insight that helps you navigate global financial news responsibly while still keeping an eye on major events that could shape the future. Whether it's the dinar undergoing gradual reform or the dong passing through intake cycles, what you're witnessing is the world adjusting, stabilizing, modernizing, and preparing for a future of digitalized finance. And as we wrap up today's discussion, one thing becomes absolutely clear. Being informed is your greatest strength. When you study patterns, follow verified sources, and stay aware of global strategies, you put yourself ahead of those who rely only on hype or rumors. So, if you want to continue receiving honest updates, deep analysis, and reality-driven explanations without exaggeration, then the best thing you can do right now is stay connected, stay subscribed, and stay alert, because the next few months are going to bring even more developments across the dong, the dinar, and the global currency stage, and you do not want to miss a single moment of it.